Hello you guys and welcome to today's card pull. My name is Alexa, I go by Alexa V Alchemy, and today I will be doing your weekly reading for the week of December 5th. If you'd like to listen to the entire reading for this, you're more than welcome to, but if you don't have time, I highly recommend that you just pay attention to your big three, which is your sun, your moon, and your rising. Today I'll be using the Crystal Spirits Oracle deck, which is one of my absolute favorites, so let's get started. So to start out today, our first card was pulled for the sign of Aries. Anyone with an Aries sun, moon, or rising, I pulled for you card number 13. This is the card of Bronzite. Now, Bronzite is all about loyalty, trust, and steadfastness. There are a few different meanings with this card. However, having been pulled upright, I think this will have a lot to do with your relationships to the world around you. The predominant message for you this week, my dear Aries, is to pay attention to the things that seem or do not seem trustworthy to you. Oftentimes this card comes up when we feel that we have been betrayed in the past or we are having a hard time trusting the world around us, and the message with this card is to heal the past and heal your relationship to it by owning up to your part. The world is a mirror and a reflection to us of our own inner lives. So if you are someone who is not being loyal or trustworthy to your commitments, to your word, and to other people, it is likely that that will be reflected back to you. Consequently, if you are struggling with trust and have had maybe some past betrayals or things in the past that have broken your trust with the world around you, I would highly recommend that you take some time to consider what are the ways that you may have played a role in that. And this isn't to take responsibility for other people's actions, this is just to take responsibility for your own. Perhaps you gave trust to people who gave you red flags, or you put your faith in people that had already showed that maybe they weren't people that you needed to be putting your faith in. Conversely, these people could have been completely straightforward and seemed absolutely 100% worthy of trust, and for whatever reason that was broken, and now you are left to deal with picking up the pieces, if you will. And your encouragement for this week, my dear Aries, as hard as it may seem, is to spend some time practicing extending trust again. If this is something that you resonate with, you've had a really hard time with doing, maybe since if there was a specific incident or a specific occurrence or relationship that really seemed to have caused a little bit of tension and or trauma around this topic, right now this week you have some phenomenal opportunities to try your hand again at getting back into an energy of trust. A big piece of this is being true to yourself and who you are. It's possible that in the past people lied to you, betrayed you, etc., because it was a reflection of elements of yourself that were not coming 100% honestly. So if there are areas of yourself that you feel like you are hiding or shielding from the world and you're afraid to bring those forward, your encouragement, my dear Aries, for this week is to have faith in yourself and in the process of bringing your own truth forward for the world to see. And in doing so, this particular card acknowledges that it is likely that that will be rewarded, perhaps in ways that you're not expecting. However, having an honest and loving relationship with yourself is the first step, and that's what's going to lay the groundwork for you being able to have that with anyone else. So practice trusting in other people by first practicing trusting within yourself. If you do have a sense that someone or something is not deserving of your trust, then I would also recommend that you pay very close attention to that this week. Not to say that there's things that you need to be worried or concerned about, but again, in having a level of integrity within yourself and your interactions with the people and the world around you, it is very important for you this week, my dear Aries, to be considerate of the way that you're relating to the world around you. All right, moving into the next card, I pulled for all of my Taurus, sun, moon, and rising the card of Pyrite. This card comes with a primary message of the importance of understanding and tapping into your own inherent value as a person. Your mission this week, my dear Taurus, is to begin knowing your own worth if you do not already. And if you do know it, make sure that you haven't forgotten it. I highly recommend for this week that you put a primary focus on your level of self-appreciation and gratitude for yourself. This is a really beautiful time for you to start stepping into a state of genuine abundance and gratitude for the gifts that you have, the treasures that you have that already rest within. This card can come up if you are experiencing certain levels of scarcity mentality perhaps, or you're starting to see the world around you as limiting and you're seeing yourself as limited. And especially for this week, it might help you to get into the habit of a practice of gratitude if you haven't already, and to start calling in more things for yourself and for your life by giving gratitude for the myriad of gifts that you already have and already possess. A message that I love with this card that I find to be incredibly encouraging is that you will not be denied the things that you need this time. So if there's a specific project, relationship, life path, something that you're really, really committed to, and you're feeling like, oh, well, I'm not going to have the resources or the things that I need in order to achieve that, your message for this week, my dear Taurus, is that you will have those things, and maybe planning your life, your actions accordingly. Not that you're planning for everything to work out in exactly the way that you want it to, but planning in such a way that you also come from a state of having confidence, not only within yourself, but within the world around you to provide exactly what it is that you need. Also, when it comes to relationships, there might be a really large importance for you on valuing those relationships and really genuinely taking some time to appreciate them and to appreciate the people and the connections that are closest to you. So even if you have like a crazy busy week, a lot going on, maybe you're feeling distracted, or you feel like there's just too much for you to get calm, get centered, and get leveled, my dear Taurus, this week a big encouragement for you is going to stop to appreciate the gifts that you have and the connections of the world around you. And again, inherent value is the name of the game for you this week. So the inherent value of your relationships, the inherent value of your work, the inherent value of yourself, whatever it is that is present for you, your mission for this week is to acknowledge what is inherently valuable about that thing, not necessarily the outcome, not necessarily what you're going to get out of it. Again, your focus this week should not be making things go according to plan. Your focus this week should be looking at the ways in which you are always given exactly what you need. So we don't always get the things that we want, but we do always get the things that we need, and sometimes the things that we need are lessons, and sometimes the things that we need are successes. So take it for what you will, whatever it is that you are receiving this week. Try to have gratitude for it and be open to receiving whatever those messages are. All right, Gemini, I pulled for you the card of Orange Calcite. This card is the epitome of creativity, pleasure, birthing something new. This is a very sensual card, and it does possibly hint at sexuality and sensuality. So if that is not something that seems like a priority for you this week, maybe bringing that up towards the top of your list could be helpful. But in general, the energy that might be beneficial for you this week is tapping into your creativity and your creative energy. Now, I always like to touch on this topic, especially when I pull this card. Sensuality and sexuality doesn't necessarily have to be sex with other people. This can be an experience of intimacy with yourself. This can be an experience of sensuality with the world around you. Again, it doesn't have to be an erotic thing. This could very much be an indicator for you that maybe you're not in your body as much as you need to be or as much as you could be. And it might benefit you to do something to bring yourself back down into your body. Maybe you've been up in the clouds or thinking a lot, doing a lot of mental work. So my encouragement for you this week, my dear Geminis, is to put yourself into a practice of creativity. This could be dance. This could be any kind of movement, really. If you have a lover or a romantic partner, maybe bringing to the forefront the importance of that connection that you guys have and exploring that. And if you don't have one, or if this is something you would prefer to work through with yourself, I highly recommend that you take a little bit of time and set some intentionality with that path. If there's something that you've been thinking about creating and you've been hesitant, or you've been like gun shy, or I don't know if I want to do this, blah, 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 right now your creative energy is higher than it normally is. So my recommendation for you this week, Geminis, is to take advantage of that. Whatever artistry means for you, that's what you're being called to tap into for the remainder of this week. Also, this card is a lot about the action of exploration and the action of play, which can teach us about the things that we actually want. So being in a creative state, it doesn't always have to be like a go, 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 I'm gonna make something. Like, this should be a very playful energy. This is a very childlike energy. You know, you're bringing this childlike energy into the world. And if you are feeling particularly unfulfilled, not super joyful, or a little bit purposeless, then doing something that is artistic will likely create a channel for you to tap into those things that actually matter to you. And no matter how you're feeling, if you're feeling good and excited and refreshed, or if you're feeling slow and mellow and a little bit unmotivated, either one of those paths, it's highly recommended that you step into your creative energy this week, and that will likely pull up some answers for you that could be helpful for your journey. All right, my lovely Geminis, moving on to the next one. Okay, my dear Cancers, your encouragement for the week is coming with the message of hematite. Now, hematite is a very, this is a very earthy stone. And I feel from this that there is a call for you for this week to get a little bit more grounded, get a little bit more centered. Getting back to the earth and a level of practicality and centeredness is probably going to be extremely important for you in this upcoming week. If you've been really stuck in your thoughts or stuck in your feelings, which, you know, thoughts are the sign of air, feelings are the sign of water, this being kind of an earth sign encouragement and you being a Cancer, which is water, you're definitely being called to kind of bring things down into that very grounded earth type place. This card comes with a message that your body deserves to be honored, acknowledged, and paid attention to. And I recommend doing this through the world of sensations in whatever way best suits you. So whatever it is that's going to help you get into your body, this could be a style of movement perhaps, but this could also be an environment and or a location. If you find that you are the most grounded and the most centered up in the pine trees in the middle of a forest with a brisk morning and a cup of coffee, then I highly recommend that you make it a priority to tap into that. And if that's not something that you can physically transport yourself into that, utilize other things in your surroundings to emulate that same environment. Like use incense, use music, clothing, textures, anything that's going to put you into your body to help you connect with the natural world and specifically to connect with the earth is probably going to have a very positive impact on your sense of balance for this upcoming week. Especially if you're having really scattered thoughts or turbulent emotions and it just feels like nothing is grounded, which having pulled the card of hematite, it is likely that that might be the case. In order to combat that, you may need to connect with the earth. So my dear Cancers, I know that you have water in your chart and it's likely that you probably have a lot of emotions running rampant. And in the process of this, if you have an emotional release, that is okay. Ultimately, bringing you into your body is designed to help bring balance to the entire ecosystem that is you. Being that this is an earth sign, it's also an acknowledgement of the importance of actions. So if you are, for example, in a relationship, like taking grounded, physical, tangible actions could be really important for you and for your relationships. Not only romantic relationships, but your families, your friends. If you find that you're, often telling people that you love and appreciate them, or even just thinking those things, but not necessarily expressing it, this week could be a really good one for you to find ways to physically express your care for other people. So if you have a partner, maybe some lovemaking, and if that's not something that's in the cards for you for this week, then taking some time to connect with your communities and the people around you. If you can do this in person or write a note, something that is a little bit more physical and tangible in nature to help you connect with a more grounded energy, a more earthed energy. When it comes to your finances being very grounded and down to earth, as much as we want to attract in abundance or whatever you want to call it, and of course I do think that meditation and all of those energetic exercises are really important, the more physical component is calling for you to pay attention to it. So building a firm foundation for long-term wealth might be something that you will want to focus on this week as well. So whatever that means, if that means planning, writing things down, or even just going over your paperwork, checking your finances, doing all of the little things that you need to do to make sure that things are in order. All right, my lovely Leos, I pulled for you in reverse the card of Aqua or Quartz. Being pulled in reverse, it is possible that there are some narratives that you are carrying or working with right now that, for lack of a better word, maybe you think that you are not enough or something is not enough. This, in reverse, this card indicates a level of a lack mentality. It's highly likely that right now you are not feeling particularly abundant, or the universe is not feeling abundant. Maybe your cash flow is feeling low, or you're experiencing the ebbs and flows of finances in a state that is making you feel a little bit more reserved or pulled back. It's also possible that in your relationships, maybe there are some things that are triggering and pulling up levels of self-doubt. Perhaps past experiences with previous partners or previous relationships are coming up to the forefront in your mind and your dreams, etc., and they're causing you to question your sense of self and your sense of worth. And my dear Leos, if this is happening for you this week, then there is a reason for it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is true, however, so I would definitely encourage you to take anything that's coming up with a grain of salt and to say thank you, dear universe, for this lesson or for this mirror or for this acknowledgement of a belief system that I am holding on to that maybe I don't want to carry anymore. And then get very, very intentional about seeing how you can flip the script. Ultimately, you know, when this card is pulled in the upright position, it's sort of acknowledging this like capacity to drink in the magic that is life. However, because it was pulled in reverse, I have a feeling that this fun jubilance and excitement and abundance and sort of like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed energy is something that maybe you are struggling with or might come up sometime this week as a potential struggle. If you are feeling like you are dealing with some losses or some again, past experiences coming up, and getting past experiences a lot. So if something is from the past that is just barraging your brain right now, this week is an opportunity for you to acknowledge a new beginning or new beginnings in general. And with new beginnings come greater possible levels of abundance. Just because it feels new and unfamiliar doesn't mean that you are not going to be taken care of. It doesn't mean that you are not going to have the things that you want. And it definitely doesn't mean that your past equals your future. Whatever it was in the past that maybe validated to you previous belief systems that you had about not being enough, about life being hard, about life not providing for you the things that you need when you need them, you have a really beautiful opportunity this week, my dear Leos, to begin reprogramming that if it's not something that you are already doing. And no, I am not saying that this is going to completely flip your life and everything is going to be perfect. I don't think that that is likely. However, right now, connecting with the possibilities, connecting with the potential, connecting with new beginnings as being a very powerful and potent energy, this might give you a renewed sense of purpose. And I think that level of purpose is something that you are really needing and possibly really missing this week. So whatever it is that you can do to step into a childlike sense of wonder and awe, I recommend that you take some time to do that this week. Finally, I recommend at all costs, do what you can to release any cynicism or worry you have about what is coming in the future. Again, things that have happened in the past are not necessarily predictors of what will happen or what is to come. So take some time to acknowledge that things that have happened previously are things that you have learned from. You are showing up differently because of those things. Those things were absolutely necessary along your path to bring you to the state of having more and having greater. So have faith in this process, and though it may take some time and you may not see the results coming to fruition right before your very own eyes the second you lay the intention down, this week you're being encouraged to have faith in the unfolding of that process. All right, my lovely Leos, hope that one was encouraging for you. If you feel like you need to chat with someone about this at any point, please feel free to reach out to me. And with that being said, I will move on to the next card. All right, my lovely Virgos, your mission for this upcoming week is to tap into a level of trust in the ground that is solidifying beneath you. I pulled for you the card of Smithsonite, and this card usually will come up if there is a level of evolution, change, possible confusion, possible discomfort. This is typically not a card that's going to come up when everything is the same old, and there's absolutely nothing new happening. So if it hasn't already, or if it's not currently unfolding in your life this week, it's possible that some new things are going to unfold. These things can be good, these things can be challenging, but whatever they are, it's possible that you're going to feel a little bit like, whoa, like what's happening? And the message from this card is that you are in a state of transition. This card is a rebirth, specifically a rebirth by chaos. So if it feels like things have been chaotic and unstable, this card is an acknowledgement that there is a level of relief on its way to you. Part of the process of evolution inherently includes a level of change and shifting, and sometimes that can be really ungrounding and unsettling for us. If this is the case, it's possible that you felt this desire to retreat, whether that is retreat inwards or shut yourself out of your life, shut people away from your space, kind of this possible desire to close off and to resist that change. But ultimately, my dear Virgos, if you can find a way to embrace those shifts that are happening and to trust in the process as it's unfolding, and to trust that what's happening right now, if it's shaking up your life or challenging you in some way, the earth is shifting beneath you to give you a better ground. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but ultimately if it feels like things are just kind of wobbly and rocky, or maybe you feel like, you know, things from the past are coming up, or you're seeing old patterns and it's confusing, maybe an ex or an old boss or an old opportunity is coming back and you don't really know how to relate to it. Or if you feel like you are just, you know, falling backwards, falling behind, like a personal retrograde of some kind. The message of Smithsonite is that sometimes we are asked to look backwards, to acknowledge what has happened in the past, to remind us of the lessons that we've learned, which we need to create the stability and the foundation in order to move forwards. So rest assured this week, my dear Virgos, the ground is safe beneath you, the wind is at your back, you have the universe aligned by your side. There's no need for you to go looking for safer ground, all right? There's no need for you to go out of your way to try to create something that feels safer, or to create something that's gonna make you feel more stable. Like at this point, this card is an acknowledgement that you are going to be fine, and stressing about the possibility that you may not be is not going to be your friend this week. So just know that right now in this week, you are evolving and the universe is doing its best to support you in that process. And in this process, you are becoming exactly the person that you need to be to create the life that you want and to have the level of safety and stability that it is that you are likely looking for. So fear not, my dear Virgos, there is a lot of beauty coming your way this week, and any small fluctuations, shifts, and changes are just a part of life, but ultimately at the end of the day, you are safe and you are cared for. And it may benefit you to trust in that. All right, moving into the next card. My sweet Libras, for this week, I pulled for you the card of Obsidian in reverse, and this card is all about knowing thyself. And having been pulled in reverse, this deck, when a card is pulled in reverse, is an acknowledgement of things that you need to turn inward, looking at yourself, maybe shadow side. So this card, literally in every single capacity right now, is a huge encouragement for you to look at yourself. If you are pointing your finger, placing blame at people around you, situations around you, work, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you are looking at the outside world right now, looking for answers in the outside world, looking to other people for guidance, like if you're looking to things external from you, your encouragement is to take some time to turn within and observe yourself this week. My sweet Libras, taking some time to understand how you view yourself, like when you look in the mirror, what do you see? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself with the same love and compassion that you would want someone else to see you with? Do you see yourself with the same level of understanding that you hope the people in the relationships in your life would give to you? A lot of the times our relationships are direct mirrors to us of how we are relating to ourselves. So if you have relationships where people are not valuing you, not respecting you, there is a degree of that might be mirroring how you feel about yourself. Typically speaking, when we shift what's going on internally, if I shift my beliefs about what I deserve, those people will either fall out of my life by coincidence or because I choose not to have them anymore because I realize I deserve better. Alternatively, having an energetic shift within yourself may provoke that within someone else, so they may start to see things differently. So ultimately, in this process of observing yourself and looking within, you can shift the outer reality and the things going on around you. But if you want those things to shift, you have to start within yourself, my dears. There's also a really big encouragement with this card of almost like taking responsibility for yourself, taking responsibility for your past, your previous actions, for the place that you are in your life in this very moment. This place that you're in has nothing to do with anyone else. If you've been blaming the world around you, my dear, this is time to stop doing that. Of course, there are things that happen in our lives that we cannot control, and they affect us, and they do, have an influence on our actions in our lives. And I'm not saying this to guilt you or make you feel like, everything is your fault, because that's not the case. But it is important to also acknowledge what is your role or responsibility in the exchange. Even if it's so much as, a life situation that is really genuinely out of your control and it just puts you in the absolute shittiest situation possible, what can you do within yourself? How can you shift your narrative, your beliefs, your view of yourself to almost, I don't want to say manipulate, but to manipulate the way that you show up in that situation? Someone else could tell me that I'm an absolute piece of shit, but ultimately it's up to me whether or not I'm going to give them permission to affect me by saying that. So self-awareness is the name of the game for you this week, Libras. take a step back and step back long enough so that you can be really honest with the way that you're seeing yourself. And maybe this will lead you to a conclusion that you've been a lot harder on yourself than you would want someone else to be. And maybe you've been a lot less kind to yourself and to your heart. And in taking a step back and realizing that, you may feel a little bit more motivated to do whatever it is that you need to do to create a healthier relationship with yourself. And finally, with this card, having been pulled in reverse, again, it can acknowledge shadow aspects or unhealthy patterns. So taking time to also acknowledge, are there certain patterns that have been recurring in your life that you do not like, and what is within your control to shift those patterns and to shift those narratives and the ways that you show up within those. So if you're afraid of looking at your relationships to other people, your relationship to work, your relationship to money, your relationship to yourself, you are being encouraged this week, my dear Libras, to step through that fear and to just acknowledge, okay, this is something I'm afraid of, but this is something that is very important. And in doing so, I think you're going to come out the other end feeling glad that you did and glad that you were willing to genuinely, honestly, and as non-judgmentally as possible pay attention to that relationship so that ultimately you can shift it to be what you'd like it to be. All right, my lovely Libras. Thank you so much for tuning in and moving into the next card. Okay, so for my Scorpios, I pulled in reverse the card of Green Aventurine, which comes with a primary message of luck, good fortune, new opportunities, and new possibilities. This is a very, almost like a Sagittarian energy. And it comes with a huge message of the importance of casting your fears aside about experiencing the new. If you've been feeling a little bit doubtful or a little bit closed off, maybe it feels like, you wish you had more opportunities and you're feeling very restricted in your life right now. This restriction is, ultimately it's here for a purpose. And I think a lot of that purpose is to help for you to instill a level of faith in what you can achieve and faith in what is possible beyond what you can currently see. Like if you can open yourself up to the possibilities for change, they will show up for you. And having been pulled in reverse, it's possible that this is something that maybe you have struggled to do in the past or something that you are currently struggling with. It's also possible that there's a level of shadow with feeling like you need proof. Like you need proof that these things are going to come through for you, or you need proof of the existence of whatever opportunities it is that you are seeking. And right now, there's just a level of like faith and trust that you're being asked to connect with. Because ultimately, my dear Scorpios, at the end of the day, what's going on in your life is not that you don't have opportunities, it's that you probably are not seeing them. Being a Scorpio, it is likely impossible that you are in the midst of a rebirth cycle. Maybe some old things have died, and maybe you're kind of in that intermediary phase where new things are about to come in for you. But one chapter did just end, one door did just close, and so right now that might have like a shock factor for you. And although that might feel very pervasive and very strong for you, ultimately the myriad of opportunities that are there, like they are countless. And it's, I think really what you're being asked to look at is just your ability to see those opportunities and your desire for it too. I think sometimes too many options, too many choices can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed, whether it's by emotional things, logistical things, etc., it's possible that there's a piece of your subconscious mind that's trying to protect you from further overwhelm. So it sort of is just giving you almost like a tunnel vision. This tunnel vision could be showing up in wealth, in the way that you relate to money. Maybe you think there's only one way to do things, and that one way is seeming like it's not an option, and so you feel like, oh, I don't have any other choices. It could be in the way that you relate to family, relationships, loved one, and partners. Maybe you feel like there is some kind of obstacle between you being able to connect with them. It could be a time difference, could be spatial difference. Maybe someone got sick, or they're traveling. There might be something in this regard that feels like it's sort of is like a separation, or a wedge between you and the things that you would like to be close to. And there are plenty of other options for connecting with said entities, but because of the state that you're in, it's possible that you're not seeing those. So if you have some old beliefs about what's possible, you have some old beliefs about the way that things should be done, if you have old beliefs about how money works, how people work, how the world works, those old beliefs could be shielding you from stepping into new opportunities and new ways of thinking, being, and doing things. So if that feels resonant for you this week, my dear Scorpios, you're being encouraged to get out of your head, get into your heart, enough so that your mind can stop focusing on this one only possible iteration that you think is there, and really just genuinely opening from a more heart-centered space to what are the actual options that lie ahead of you. So this is a very grounding stone, kind of reminiscent of like walking in the forest. So it's also possible that you may want to connect a little bit more deeply with your physical body. Regardless of whether or not it's in your big three, I do highly recommend that you also go ahead and take a peek at the card pull I did for Cancer this week. I pulled the card of Hematite, which has a lot to do with grounding, and I think there might be some good nuggets in there for you as well. So my dear Scorpios, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next week, and I will move into Sagittarius now. Okay, my dear Sagittarius, if you have Sagittarius in your big three, your sun, moon, or your rising, your encouragement for this week is to get grounded with your intentions. I pulled in reverse the card of Sodalite. Now, this card has a lot to do with a level of awareness and a level of conscious intention. Having Sagittarius energy in your chart, you may resonate with this adventurous, go here, go there, explorative energy, which is a phenomenal piece of your personality and a wonderful energy that you bring to the table. With that being said, there's it's possible that you're almost in this level of like aimless wandering right now. Maybe you're struggling to connect with what your actual intentions are, or you know, what your purpose is at a deep level with the things that you're doing. And the message for this week is to be awake and aware of your choices and your intention behind those choices in order to establish a deeper sense of well-being for yourself. It's definitely possible, and I would argue being pulled in reverse, it might be likely that some old patterns, old shadows might be coming out to play, and it's not old habits that you would consciously see. Like, I feel like the types of habits that might be coming up for you right now are the types that are subconscious. Like, these are the types of things that might be putting you in almost like an amnesia state. Like, I just feel like there's this big possible disconnect with what you are doing and what you want to be doing, or what you want to be getting out of life. And if this resonates with you, then I highly recommend that this week you spend some time getting very clear with your sense of awareness of your subconscious and your conscious thoughts, as well as the actions that you're taking to see if those are all aligned. Because if there's a break in the system and, you know, subconsciously you are thinking, dreaming, whatever in one direction, and consciously you're moving in a different direction, this is going to create a level of tension within yourself that's ultimately going to be very challenging and difficult for you to reconcile when you're not getting the outcomes that you wanted. So even if you have this wanderlust and this desire to go here and go there and try this and try that, it will likely benefit you to remain present to what your truth is, what your desires are, what's really important to you on a very deep level. You know, don't forget your worth, don't forget your values. And as you move forward and take actions, just make sure that they're coming from a grounded and honest place this week. It's possible that when it comes to finances, maybe you're seeing some old patterns in the way that you think about money. Maybe some scarcity mentality is particularly prevalent this week. And if that is the case, just being able to acknowledge it and be aware of what's happening might help to reconnect you with the state that you actually want to be in. If, for example, you want to be in a state of abundance, like, take the time to be aware of whether or not your actions reflect where you want to be or where you've been in the past. If your actions always reflect a subconscious mentality of lack, then it is likely that that's what you're going to see reflected back to you. Now, if you have the intention of moving forward with abundance mentality, and you know that that's your intention, and you can shift your thoughts, your behaviors, etc. to reflect that, that's when you're going to have congruency within your life, which again is something that's probably going to be really important for you this week, my Sagittarians. So this doesn't mean that you can't explore, this doesn't mean that you can't be open-minded. Just be aware this week of the way that your thoughts and your behaviors are connecting with each other and the way that they are coming out into the world around you. All right, moving into Capricorns. Oh my God, my Capricorns. How I do love the card I pulled for you. I pulled the card of Blue Chalcedony. Now, the primary message with this card is slowing down, easy does it, restoring harmony. It is likely, my dear Capricorns, and I'm a Capricorn sun, so I resonate quite heavily with this one. It's possible that your Capricorn nature has taken over a little bit for the last few weeks. And if that's the case, that's completely okay. Right now, to create and establish a sense of balance in your life, you will likely benefit from slowing way the fuck down. So if life has felt overwhelming, and this doesn't have to be self-imposed, this doesn't mean you went out and said, I want to work really hard. This could be like, wow, a lot of shit's been hitting the fan and a lot of things have been happening and life has just been quite crazy. The transition that you might be navigating for this week, Capricorns, is one where you are being asked and required to slow down, and I have a feeling that if you do not do so willingly, you will be forced into it. Whether that is by sickness or injury or some other event that is out of your control. If you don't, and I'm not saying this as a threat, I'm just saying this, that there's so much importance in creating space and time for yourself to relax and decompress. And this doesn't have to take like days upon days. This doesn't even have to take multiple hours. Just taking time every single day to very intentionally slow down. And maybe this means a meditation every morning and every night. Maybe this means, you know, taking an extra 15 minutes during your lunch break to go for a walk and make sure it's a slow one. Find a way to connect with an easier pace of life. It's possible that there have been some challenges in life that are a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe the sense of urgency that you're feeling is the way that your body is telling you to escape the discomfort. It may actually benefit you, as counterintuitive as this may feel, it may benefit you to allow yourself to sit in that discomfort for longer. If you're constantly like running around trying to find answers, trying to establish peace or reestablish balance and blah, 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 your fearful ego might be telling you that in order to get what you want, you need to work harder, better, faster, stronger. And there is a time and a place for that, but with this card coming up, there's definitely an acknowledgement of the power of slow and steady. One of my boxing coaches used to always say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I think that's one of the hands down most brilliant lessons that I've tried to infuse into my daily life. The universe wants to see you achieve the things that you want to achieve, and at a reasonable pace. However, if you're constantly rushing about and trying to get things done quicker than usual, ultimately, if they're happening on their own timeline and you're trying to rush this process, they may take their time to unfold, and if you become impatient and give up prematurely, etc., then those things that you want may actually never come to fruition. So yes, it's important to move forward, but moving forward at the right time with the right intention is ultimately what the universe is pushing you into this week. So if you have doubts, you will move forward, and you will move forward at the pace that you need to be moving forward at. So feel free this week, my dear Capricorns, to slow way the hell down. And also know that healing old patterns is a lot easier when you're not trying to rush through them or to move too quickly through a transition for you to actually gain the things that you need to gain in it. There's a lot of value in moving slowly right now for you. So Capricorns, I know this might go against that hard-working, dedicated nature, but I'm not saying you can't work. It's just work at a slower pace. Allow things to unfold and be patient with them. All right, my loves, moving into the next card pull. For my dear Aquarians, anyone who has an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, I pulled in reverse for you the card of Celestite. This card has everything to do with connection to the angelic realm. There's a very big message for you to connect with your guidance. Now, normally, this card is sort of acknowledging like connecting to angels, to spirit source energy, God, however you want to phrase that. But having been pulled in reverse, typically any card pulled in reverse with this deck is asking you to look within yourself. So I actually feel that this week, my dear Aquarians, you might want to focus on connecting with the guidance that comes from within yourself. If you connect with the concept of angels or spirit guides, then I do recommend tapping in with that as well. Just make sure that you're not doing it at the expense of your own inner guidance. Find a way to get your inner self to communicate a little bit more openly with the world around you. If you do connect with the angelic or divine realm, so to speak, then I do also recommend, connecting with those entities if you can. Maybe a loved one who's passed, whether it was recent or a long time ago, seeing if there's a way that you can connect with them. If they have a tombstone, maybe going to visit them, or just connecting by way of prayer, energy, etc. Allowing yourself to receive whatever guidance it is that you can receive from them. And if this is not something that speaks to you, if you don't really vibe with the concept of angels, source, spirit, etc., then maybe connecting with someone who has passed and the life lessons that they have taught you. They may not be around, but their influence on your life was there for a reason. So maybe acknowledging, okay, what lessons did I learn through these people, through these situations, and how can I implement that this week? There's also a big message with this card of the importance of asking. If you want to receive something, usually you have to ask for it. Having been pulled in reverse, this may indicate a shadow, so it's possible that asking for the things that you want is something that's been really hard for you in your life. Maybe this is still a shadow for you or something that you really struggle with. So this week, if you are grappling with not getting the things that you want, your first step for this week is to begin asking for them to come forward. Whether that's asking your team, your guidance, asking things of yourself, asking things of the people physically around you that you love and care about, whatever it is that you want, begin to ask for it and allow it to come forward for you. So if you can find a way to be comfortable with prayer of some kind, if you want to label it meditation, etc., but really asking for whatever it is that you are seeking, whether it's guidance, answers, abundance, relationships, money, etc. Your first step, your step one this week, my dear Aquarians, is to ask for it to show up for you. And finally, moving into Pisces. My lovely Pisces, I pulled for you the card of Amber, and Amber has everything to do with healing old family patterns. It's possible that there are some narratives that have been passed down in your lineage, maybe some things that you've seen your parents struggle with or your parents' parents. Perhaps there's an inherited lack mentality or something. I feel like something that you're going to struggle with this week, or that you've been struggling with and you want to resolve this week, is reflective of some kind of ancestral wounding or ancestral patterns. If you subscribe to past life regression work, etc., that might be really beneficial for you this week. If that's not something that you're interested in or open to, then maybe just connecting with your family now, whether that's internally or directly and externally. If you don't have a good relationship with them, of course, you don't have to have any conversations about this, but exploring what kinds of patterns and habits, etc., were passed down to you, especially from your parents or from the people that you see as family, I think is going to be extremely pertinent for you this week. In doing this, you are also enabling yourself to releasing karma. Releasing karma is a big theme this week as well for you. If there's some kind of a karmic cycle with another person, it's possible that you're going to have opportunities to create some closure and to close those karmic cycles this week. And even in doing so, I think, given that this has a lot to do with ancestral things, there's also an importance on preservation. So this card to me is it's like a two-sided. It's like the importance of preservation and also the importance of release. So maybe there are things that you need to release in terms of limiting belief systems, etc., that have been passed down through your lineage. However, it's also possible that there are some traditions or things that are really important to your culture or to your family that you want to pass down. And getting in touch with those this week could also be very helpful. So I highly recommend that you take some time this week to acknowledge the lessons that were learned in your childhood, the lessons that your family has learned, lessons that you may still want to learn, or the things that you would like to work through, and spend some time really working through those this week. All right, and that does it for this week's reading. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate having you guys here. I do these readings every single week, so please make sure that you subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I release a new video. If you like this or if it resonated with you, please let me know by liking the video or dropping a comment below. And finally, I do these readings free of charge, so if you would like to leave a donation, of course, you are more than welcome to. And as always, I really appreciate you guys for supporting my journey and for witnessing everything that I had to share. So wishing you a most beautiful week. If you need support in any way, please feel free to reach out. Do not hesitate. And I will see you guys on the next one. Cheers.